What if I told you that everything you think is solid is nothing more than vibrating intelligence shaping itself around you right now? What if the numbers that surround you are not lifeless symbols, but living frequencies pulsing with consciousness, whispering truths hidden from the eyes of the ordinary? You were never meant to see numbers as cold equations. They are codes, keys, gateways. Tesla warned us. He declared that the secret of the universe is hidden in 3, 6, and 9. He was not playing with theory. He was handing you the master keys to creation. Ancient masters knew it too. Pythagoras, Plato, Aristotle, Da Vinci. They all guarded the mystery of the sacred digits. You see, when you reduce numbers through ancient methods, the illusions fall away. The false systems collapse. Only the pure single-digit essence remains. 9 living frequencies. The true language of creation. Everything else is human fabrication. 0 is not a number. It is only a placeholder. But 9 is eternal. The signature of the divine. The infinite pattern of existence. Can you feel it? Every sound. Every word. Every prayer flowing from your lips is mathematics becoming reality. Words are not empty. They are vibration. They are electromagnetic waveforms carving reality into form. This is creation's true covenant. The sacred agreement that love, faith, and intention align you with infinite power. When you speak, the universe listens. When you breathe with awareness, the firmament trembles. This is not metaphor. This is manifestation technology hidden in plain sight. And now you stand at the threshold. Few will ever understand. Fewer will act. The question is, will you ignore this? Or will you claim the forgotten keys that unlock existence itself? Now imagine the sudden, cold clarity when you realize your life has been running on low power, stuck in the static between intention and action. You know that feeling, the one where every morning tastes familiar and every evening fades into the same unfinished list? You feel it in the small pauses, in the way promises to yourself gather dust. This is the moment most people never name. They call it boredom, burnout, or bad timing. You call it something sharper, a quiet theft of possibility. What if I told you that more than 85% of people report a similar ache, an awareness that they are not living up to what they could be, and that the missing link is not talent or luck, but deliberate, conscious action? Harvard Business Review confirms this pattern. Conscious action is the engine that separates life lived by default from life chosen on purpose. Pause. Feel the weight of that truth. Your days have been punctuated by hesitation. Procrastination creeps in as a polite suggestion. Fear masquerades as practicality. You shrink your dreams into safe boxes labeled later. This is the interference, the noise that steals your forward trajectory. Now let me show you the sparkline model, a simple map from problem through tension into solution. First, identify the signal. Where do you feel the friction? Second, amplify the tension. Name the cost of staying small. Third, execute one clear, brave action that breaks the loop. Each step is a pulse. Each pulse reorders your internal frequency. It is not mystical. It is methodical. And it begins inside the simple, stubborn place called attention. Consider Anna from Texas. After 15 years in an office cubicle, she woke up one night with the sensation that her life belonged to someone else. She could not remember the last occasion she felt truly free. The realization hit like a cold wind. That shock rewired her day by day. She traded autopilot for questions. She asked herself what she wanted to feel, not just what she wanted to do. She took small risks that added up into a different life. This is not an exception. It is a template. Listen closely. Your consciousness is not passive. It is the tool that sculpts the world you inhabit. When you direct your attention with intention, measurable change follows. Neuroscience shows that habitual attention patterns strengthen neural pathways, making some futures more likely than others. When you shift attention, you shift probability. You do not need permission to begin. You only need to choose. Now feel the urgency. This is not a soft invitation. This is a call. Every day you delay, the same current that keeps you comfortable engraves itself deeper into your habits. There is scarcity here, not of resources, but of chances to pivot without heavy cost. Opportunities to reroute your life with relative ease are rarer than you assume. That is the threat and the incentive. Most will never answer the call. The rest will be the ones who claim what was always theirs. So what is the first move? Declare it aloud. Say, I want to awaken. Make it a small public oath. Write it, type it, drop it into a comment where a community can witness it. This is not showmanship. It is practice in accountability. Accountability accelerates the reconfiguration of your attention into action. Remember the spark line. Problem, tension, solution. Name the problem. Feel the tension. Make one deliberate move. Repeat. Repeat until the line on your life chart no longer drifts, but arcs. Time compresses when intention is focused. Do not wait for permission from the world. Authority is an internal alignment you cultivate through repeated acts of clarity. Ask yourself, what would I do if I believed the universe favored my courage? Then do one thing that answers that question. This is where transformation begins. In a single, slightly uncomfortable act performed with fierce attention. You will face resistance. Resistance is proof you are moving beyond the comfortable. It is also information. Use it to adjust, not to retreat. At the end of this segment, you will hear a question that forces a choice. Listen for it. It will ask you to decide between the slow erosion of passive living and the hard reclamation of agency. This choice matters. It isolates who will rise and who will remain unchanged. If you have ever felt hollow in the middle of a full life, if you have ever wondered what you missed, then this is your moment to respond. Type the words, I want to awaken, into the comments now. Let that declaration be your first deliberate pulse toward a life you actually remember loving. Will you step forward, or will you let the signal fade? Decide now. Asterisk, you want to know where to begin? Start with this realization. You never truly lost control of your life. You only forgot how to use it. That truth alone can feel like a shock. You thought power slipped away, stolen by circumstance, stolen by fear, stolen by endless distractions. But here is the revelation. It was always in your hands. Always. Your awareness is not a passive witness. It is an engine, a force, a living tool shaping the fabric of your reality. Every thought you hold, every choice you act upon, ripples out into the structure of your existence. Ask yourself, how many moments have you wasted thinking the present is just a waiting room for a better future? How many times did you surrender the moment, telling yourself tomorrow would be different? The secret is here. The only place you have real authority is now. This breath, this heartbeat, this single decision. You do not need to rebuild your entire life at once. You only need to claim this instant. The present moment is not small. It is the command center of your existence. It is the point where thought and action collide to construct your path forward. What would shift if you treated this moment as sacred? Science confirms what ancient wisdom whispered for centuries. National Institutes of Health research reveals that sound frequencies alter emotional states, shift physiology, and recalibrate the nervous system. One frequency in particular has been called the love frequency. 528 hertz, the frequency of harmony, healing, and expansion. Not a superstition. a measurable vibration that influences the human body, easing stress, awakening clarity, restoring balance. Imagine what it feels like when noise dissolves and your mind vibrates in rhythm with coherence. Imagine the relief when fear loosens and focus sharpens. This is not fantasy. It is physics meeting biology. Let me tell you a story. A veteran in California carried the weight of battles long after they ended. Sleepless nights, sudden triggers, a mind replaying images he wished he could silence. Then he discovered sound therapy. Not drugs, not escape, but a precise use of frequency. He sat in sessions where 528 hertz washed through him like invisible waves. Slowly, his nervous system softened. He found moments of stillness he thought were lost forever. His focus returned. His calm returned. And piece by piece, his sense of self rebuilt itself. That man did not discover something new. He remembered what was always there, the capacity of consciousness to align with harmony. And so do you. Pause for a moment. Can you sense where your life feels out of tune? Can you sense the distortion in your daily rhythm? The missed signals? The overthinking? The hesitation? That is interference. Static that clouds your natural authority. And yet you hold the dial. You can retune at will. That is the first step in reclaiming mastery. Not to wait, not to beg, but to act now. So here is your invitation. Write down one action you can take today that declares ownership of your life. Do not overthink it. Do not wait for a perfect plan. Choose one clear gesture, then share it. Comment it. Let it become a vow not only to yourself, but to a community of witnesses. Small acts spoken aloud ripple louder than silent promises. This is not about showing others. It is about proving to yourself that your authority is alive and active. You may ask, how do I know when I am in alignment? How do I know when I am resonating with my highest frequency? Pay attention to your state. When you are scattered, fearful, endlessly distracted, you are out of tune. When you are focused, calm, open to possibility, you are vibrating closer to coherence. The signs are unmistakable. The body always tells the truth. Your nervous system cannot lie. Every heartbeat, every breath, every subtle tension is data. The key is to listen. Once you notice the static, you can adjust. This is empowerment in practice. Each choice you make is a frequency shift. Each act of courage, each breath of awareness, each deliberate word spoken with intention tunes you closer to the love frequency. And when you stand in that vibration, reality reshapes itself around you. So feel the urgency. You are not waiting to be given power. You are reclaiming what was never lost. The first step is not complicated. The first step is remembering. The first step is choosing this moment. Write it down. Declare it. Anchor it. Then ask yourself this question. How will you know when you are drifting back into static? How will you recognize when the signal is weak and needs tuning? That answer matters, because mastery is not a one-time act. It is the continual art of retuning. And you already hold the dial dot. You will recognize it when everything around you no longer makes you vibrate. When the spark you once felt dims. When the colors of your world fade into gray. This is the first sign of interference. The static that creeps into your life and steals the clarity of your signal. Ask yourself, have you noticed the silence inside your own passion? Have you caught yourself moving through days without momentum, without hunger, without fire? That is not laziness. That is misalignment. You are out of tune with your original frequency. The symptoms are everywhere. Loss of motivation, relationships turning tense, conversations heavy instead of flowing, a body that feels constantly tired, no matter how much rest you think you give it. These are not random struggles. These are alarms, indicators that your vibration has slipped off center. Picture a radio drifting off frequency. The further it drifts, the weaker the music becomes. The notes distort, the rhythm fades, the beauty is buried in static. That is exactly how your life feels when you move further from your core signal. The signal of presence, the signal of purpose, the signal of joy. The truth is, you cannot fake resonance. You cannot pretend to be aligned when your body is weighed down, your mind clouded, your heart closed. Stress compounds the distortion. The American Psychological Association warns us that chronic stress does not only drain energy, it destroys creativity and decision-making. Your brain literally loses access to clarity when static builds. That is why you feel stuck. That is why choices feel heavy. That is why your life feels like it moves in circles instead of forward. Let me give you a story. A young CEO in New York. His company hit record numbers. Investors celebrated. The world saw success. But inside, he was crumbling. Exhaustion burned through his body. His health cracked. His joy disappeared. He realized in the middle of his greatest external triumph that he had lost the very essence of why he started. The numbers looked perfect, but his frequency was broken. That moment forced him to pause, to admit he was not aligned, and to begin the work of tuning back to his source. Do you see yourself in this reflection? Do you recognize at least two of these signs in your own days? The fatigue, the strained connections, the hollow routines that once carried meaning but now feel empty. If you do, mark this moment. Leave the symbol. Let it be your declaration that you see the truth, that you admit to yourself it is time to change. This act is not for me. It is for you. A vow carved into the present moment that you are ready to return to your origin, because that is the path, returning to your original frequency. Without that, no amount of work, no amount of success, no amount of distraction will ever satisfy. You will always feel the quiet pull of interference, the static hum that tells you something is off. Do not ignore it. Static is not harmless. Left uncorrected, it erodes everything. It erodes your health. It erodes your creativity. It erodes the love you are able to give and receive. The longer you wait, the harder it is to hear your true signal. So I ask you again, have you noticed when your world stops resonating? Have you noticed when laughter feels forced, when mornings feel heavy, when even your victories taste empty? That is your sign. That is your wake-up call. And it is urgent, because you are not meant to live in distortion. You are meant to vibrate at your natural frequency, aligned, clear, powerful. Few people are brave enough to admit when they are lost in static. Fewer still are willing to recalibrate. But the choice is yours. You stand at the threshold now. Will you keep drifting further from the music of your soul, or will you tune back to the original station of your being? Remember the radio. Remember how simple it is to turn the dial. You do not need to rebuild the whole machine. You only need to realign, to listen, to adjust, and to act. If you feel the signs in your own life, claim it now. Place your. Let the universe witness your declaration, because the question is waiting. How do you tune the signal? How do you return to your original frequency? That is the path we are about to uncover. Asterisk, by finding again the melody you were born with. That is the secret. That is the key you have been overlooking. You were never random. You were never noise. You were tuned at birth to a frequency that carries the signature of life itself. And when you drift from that note, you feel lost. You feel heavy. You feel disconnected. But when you return, everything shifts. Do you know the frequency of life? It is 528 hertz, the frequency of renewal, the frequency that vibrates in harmony with the color green, the color of living growth, the color that mirrors the heart chakra, the center of love and compassion. Imagine it now, a tone that aligns with the rhythm of your own heart, a vibration that brings coherence where chaos once lived. This is not just poetry. This is practice. And it is simple. 5 minutes each morning. That is all it takes. 5 minutes of immersing yourself in the sound of 528 hertz. Let it fill your space. Let it fill your body. Let it wash through your cells. Pair it with one clear affirmation, a statement of who you are becoming. Speak it as the tone vibrates. Speak it as though you are imprinting it into the very fabric of your reality. Because you are. Your words and your frequency merge. They echo into the field around you. This is how intention becomes form. This is how energy becomes matter. The law of sowing and reaping applies here. The toroidal field, the energetic circulation of giving and receiving, expands from your heart outward. What you plant in thought and vibration returns multiplied. Send out coherence, receive coherence. Send out fear, receive fear. The choice is yours each morning. Will you tune in or tune out? University of California, Irvine conducted research on 528 hertz. The results were not speculation. Participants who listened showed measurable reduction in anxiety after only 5 days. The nervous system responded. Stress lowered. Clarity returned. That is science confirming what sages always knew. Frequency alters state. State alters destiny. And the stories are real. A nurse in Florida faced the tension of preparing patients for surgery. Fear in their eyes. Restless bodies. Racing hearts. She introduced 528 hertz into the room. Gentle tones in the background. Within minutes, patients calmed. Heart rates dropped. Anxiety softened. Even in moments of greatest uncertainty, frequency carried them into peace. That is the power of alignment. If it works there, imagine what it can do in the quiet of your own morning. Imagine starting each day not with chaos, but with coherence. Not with fear, but with resonance. Do you see the opportunity? Do you feel the urgency? This is not theory. This is available to you now. The practice is simple, but the impact is profound. Will you try it? Tonight, give yourself permission. 5 minutes. Listen to 528 hertz. Let the tone touch you. And tomorrow morning, comment what you felt. That is your challenge. That is your invitation. Not a grand gesture. Not an impossible step. A simple action repeated until it rewrites your frequency. But here lies the deeper question. If the method is so accessible, if the sound is so available, why do so many people refuse to change? Why do they choose to live in static, even when the melody of life is calling them back? That is the mystery we must face next. Asterisk, because they underestimate the power of procrastination. That is the invisible barrier. That is the silent trap that keeps you locked where you are. You think it is harmless. You think you are simply waiting for the right moment. But waiting is a prison dressed in comfort. Procrastination is not laziness. It is an addiction to the illusion of safety. It is the mind convincing you that staying still is easier than stepping forward. Have you felt it? That tiny voice that whispers tomorrow will be better. That tomorrow you will be braver, stronger, more ready. But tomorrow never arrives. The brain loves instant reward. Behavioral psychology proves it. Your mind is wired to crave what feels good now, not what builds greatness later. That is why you scroll instead of act. That is why you plan instead of move. That is why you repeat patterns even when they no longer serve you. The trap is elegant. It feeds you temporary comfort while stealing your long-term destiny. And the longer you linger, the tighter it grips. But there is a way out. There is a crack in the wall. You must act before the mind talks you down. Mel Robbins calls it the 5-second rule. When you have an idea, when you feel an impulse toward courage, you count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then move. Call, speak, step, send. Do it before fear takes the wheel. Psychological science published research that proves this shift. Acting within 5 seconds reroutes the brain. It pulls energy away from the anxious centers and delivers it to the regions of control. You literally flip the switch from hesitation to execution. It is not just motivation. It is neurology. Let me give you a story. A student in Boston. Average grades. Average confidence. But one day, he heard about an internship at a top company. He felt the spark. Then the voice came. Wait, you are not ready. Others are more qualified. He remembered the 5-second rule. He counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he sent the email. That single message led to an interview. The internship became a full-time position. Years later, that same student is now a marketing director. His life turned not because of a massive plan, but because of 5 seconds of courage. Do you see it now? The difference between drifting and thriving is not years of preparation. It is 5 seconds of decision. The invisible barrier is delay. The weapon is immediate action. And the battlefield is every single day. Look at your own life. How many chances have slipped because you waited too long? How many conversations you wanted to start died in silence? How many opportunities passed because you told yourself you were not ready? If you agree procrastination is the enemy, write it now. Comment the words action now. Let that be your declaration. A public signal that you are ready to step beyond delay. This is not symbolic. This is training. Every time you declare an act, you weaken procrastination's hold. And every time you wait, you strengthen it. The choice is brutal in its simplicity. Action or delay. Growth or stagnation. Freedom or the cage of comfort. So hear the urgency. Do not let another day slip into the archive of regret. You already know the enemy. You already know the weapon. The only question left is, will you use it? And if fear rises again, if hesitation whispers in your ear, ask yourself this. What tool will you carry into that moment to act even when you are afraid? That is the key we reveal next. It is not about waiting until fear disappears. It is about acting while fear is still in the room. That is the breakthrough. That is the shift most people never make. They wait for courage to arrive like a guest. They wait for fear to vanish like smoke. But courage does not come first. Action does. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is evidence. Fear is the signal that you are stepping into unknown territory, and the unknown is exactly where growth lives. So what if you stopped resisting fear? What if you accepted its presence and still moved forward? Imagine how your life would change if fear became a compass instead of a cage. The key is reframe, a simple but radical shift. Instead of calling it fear, call it direction. Instead of labeling it danger, label it challenge. Stanford University proved it. Their research showed that when people reframed stress as challenge, performance increased by 43%. That is not just mindset. That is measurable. That is science confirming that your interpretation shapes your outcome. So how do you apply it? Begin with one daily goal. Small, specific. When fear rises, name it. Speak it, then reframe it. Tell yourself this fear means I am aligned with growth. This fear means I am leaving the comfort zone. Then move within 5 seconds. Make the call. Send the message. Step into the action. Repeat this and fear loses its grip. It does not vanish. It transforms. Let me give you a story. A single mother in Chicago. She dreamed of opening a coffee shop, but fear was constant. Fear of debt, fear of failure, fear of judgment. She almost gave up. Then she chose to reframe. She told herself that the very fact she was scared meant she was on the right path. She launched the shop anyway. Step by step, the fear softened into focus. Today, she owns a chain of thriving coffee shops. She is not fearless. She is proof that fear can fuel success instead of stopping it. Now look at your life. Where does fear stop you? What goals sit waiting because you are waiting to feel ready? Ready is a lie. If you wait for it, you will wait forever. But if you act while afraid, you build proof. Proof that you can carry fear and still move forward. Proof that fear is not fatal. Proof that fear is just feedback. So I ask you, are you willing to reframe? Are you willing to act while your heart races, while your hands shake, while your mind screams no? If you are, then comment, I am ready. Declare it. Claim it. Let that be your pivot point, because you will discover something powerful. Once you act, fear shrinks. Once you step, fear loses scale. Action is the antidote, always. But this raises the next challenge. Fear is only the first barrier. Once you break through it, storms still come. Difficulties still arrive. So the question becomes urgent. How do you keep your fire alive when obstacles hit? How do you sustain momentum when the world pushes back? That is the next secret you must uncover. Asterisk by making it a habit, not a special event. That is how you keep your vibration steady, even when life throws storms at you. The mistake most people make is waiting for motivation. They treat alignment like a rare spark, a moment of magic that comes and goes. But true mastery is not about sparks. It is about rhythm. It is about building a foundation strong enough to hold when the waves hit. Ask yourself, how much of your day is really choice and how much is automatic? Duke University found the answer. 45% of what you do every single day is not conscious decision. It is habit. Nearly half of your life runs on autopilot. That should shake you, because if your habits are low frequency, then almost half your life is dragging you down without you even noticing. But here lies the opportunity. If you reshape habits, you reshape destiny. The key is not dramatic change. It is small, consistent actions, tiny pulses that stack into momentum. Start by attaching one new habit to something you already do. This is habit stacking. If you drink coffee each morning, play 528 Hertz as the mug warms your hands. If you brush your teeth at night, use that 2 minutes to whisper affirmations into your own reflection. When you anchor new practices to old rituals, they stick, they fuse, and they turn into automatic alignment. This is not only easier, it is more powerful, because you stop relying on willpower and you let rhythm carry you. And rhythm is stronger than motivation. But habit is not enough alone. Energy thrives in connection. You must place yourself in resonance with others who vibrate at similar frequency. Alone, your signal wavers. Together, it multiplies. A group in Seattle discovered this truth. Friends who wanted more positivity started listening to 528 Hertz each morning. They did it together. Not in the same house, not at the same time, but united by intention. They checked in daily. They shared how it felt. Weeks passed and something happened. Their mood lifted. Their focus sharpened. Their bond deepened. What began as sound became community, and that community held them when individual motivation dipped. This is how you hold your vibration through trials, not by waiting for perfect days, but by weaving practice into your mornings, into your nights, into your friendships. You become the kind of person whose alignment is not an event, but a lifestyle. That is unshakable. That is how you endure. And now it is your turn. Do not keep this to yourself. Tag one friend who can take this journey with you. Tag one person who will hold you accountable. Someone who will remind you when you drift. Someone who will celebrate when you rise. This is not about sharing for the sake of sharing. This is about anchoring your habit into the fabric of your relationships. Because when two or more align, the field expands. The signal strengthens. The vibration sustains. Ask yourself right now, are you willing to turn resonance into rhythm? Are you willing to shift from occasional sparks to steady fire? If yes, then choose your habit. Stack it, share it, anchor it, and when the storms arrive, you will not fall. You will stand, because your rhythm will hold. Your habits will carry. Your community will amplify. And the question that now waits is this. If you want to accelerate this journey, if you want not only stability but speed, what more do you need? Asterisk, you need a compass, and that compass is a clear goal. Without it, your energy scatters. Your actions drift. You chase distractions instead of destiny. But with it, every step you take lines up with purpose. Every decision becomes sharper. Every ounce of energy has direction. Ask yourself, how many times have you felt busy but not fulfilled? How many times have you worked hard but ended the day wondering what it was for? That happens when you move without a target. The human mind is built for direction. It craves focus. It thrives when vision and action align. A vague wish does not guide you. Only a specific goal does. That is why you need clarity. That is why you need precision. SMART goals are the formula. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. This is not corporate jargon. It is a weapon. It takes a dream and turns it into a path. Without these elements, your goals remain mist. With them, they become maps. And when you connect those goals to your core values, they stop being tasks and start becoming fuel. Because goals that match your values never run dry. They pull you forward even when motivation fades. Science proves it. Dominican University found that people who wrote their goals down increased their chances of success by 42%. That is not opinion. That is data. Writing forces clarity. Writing turns thought into form. Writing signals to your mind and to the universe that you are serious. So here is the challenge. Write one goal, not 10, one, and write it in the comments. Declare it where others can see it. Let the universe witness your intent. Because when you declare, you step into alignment. Let me show you a story. An athlete from Colorado had a vision. The Olympic Games. Not someday, not maybe, but a clear goal. He wrote it down. He built a plan. Every workout, every meal, every hour of sleep was mapped to that vision. He stacked SMART goals one on top of another until they carried him to the finish line. And when the games arrived, he was there. Not because he was lucky, but because his compass never wavered. You may not be chasing medals, but your life deserves the same clarity. Do not let another year dissolve in vague hopes. Anchor your energy. Focus your fire. Ask yourself now, what do I want with absolute clarity? What goal aligns with my deepest values? Write it. Own it. Declare it. Because goals unspoken fade. Goals declared grow teeth. They grip. They hold you accountable. They call you forward when you want to quit. And that brings us to the next burning question. Once you have the goal, How do you bring it to life in the fastest way possible? How do you accelerate from vision to victory without losing momentum? That is the secret waiting to be revealed next. By combining awareness, language, and immediate action. That is how you turn a goal from an idea into a reality. Not someday, not eventually. Now, awareness comes first. You must see it. You must shape the image so clearly in your mind that it feels almost tangible. Ask yourself, can you picture it? Can you see the version of you who has already achieved it? The clearer the image, the stronger the pull. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined future and reality in motion. That is why visualization works. That is why athletes, leaders, and innovators all practice it. But awareness alone is not enough. You must give it language. Words are not decoration. Words are power. Each day, you must speak affirmations that align with your vision. Positive, present tense, personal. When you say it, you begin to believe it. When you believe it, you begin to act like it. Language programs the subconscious, and the subconscious drives behavior when willpower fades. But even this is not enough. Without action, awareness and language remain locked in potential. Action is the spark, the ignition, and it does not have to be huge. In fact, it must be small. A step you can take immediately. Not next week. Not next year. Now. The Journal of Experimental Psychology confirms it. People who combine positive affirmations with concrete action increase their success rate by 33%. That is not coincidence. That is evidence. Awareness gives you vision. Language gives you belief. Action gives you proof. Together, they form the formula of transformation. Let me tell you a story. A young engineer in San Francisco dreamed of leaving his corporate role. He wanted to work in green technology, to use his skills for impact. But the leap looked impossible. So he broke it down. Each morning, he visualized himself already working in that field. He spoke affirmations out loud. I am building a career that serves the planet. I am aligning my skills with my values. And then he acted. Small steps. Sending one email. Attending one networking event. Taking one course. Within months, opportunities opened. Within a year, he was employed in a green energy startup. He did not wait for the perfect moment. He created it. That is the formula in motion. Awareness, language, action. So what about you? What goal have you been holding? What future can you see if you close your eyes? Will you dare to give it words? Will you dare to speak it into existence? And will you dare to act, even in the smallest way, within the next 24 hours? That is your challenge. Begin now. Write one action you will take in the next day. Declare it in the comments. Not for me, for you, for the universe. Let your declaration be your first pulse of proof. Because when thought, word, and action align, reality has no choice but to shift. So listen closely. You are standing at the edge of change. The formula is in your hands. Awareness, language, action. Use it now. And ask yourself this. When you change, when you finally step into alignment, what will truly happen to your life? That is the mystery waiting for you next. When do you finally become a creator? When you realize that everything around you is reflecting the vibration you choose to carry. That is the moment. That is the awakening. You are no longer a passive observer watching life unfold without your say. You are the one shaping, directing, commanding reality through your awareness, your words, and your actions. Do you feel the weight of that truth? Every thought you repeat is a brushstroke. Every word you speak is a command. Every step you take is a declaration. The universe is not distant. It is responsive. It is mirroring you. So the question is simple. What frequency will you choose? You have heard the noise. You have lived the static. You have felt the distortion. But now you know the key. A frequency of love. 528 hertz. The vibration that aligns your heart, restores coherence, and broadcasts harmony into the field around you. HeartMath Institute confirms it. Positive emotional states are not just feelings. They are physiological codes. They alter heart rhythms. They strengthen resilience. They literally transform your biology. This is not spiritual metaphor. This is measurable. This is science proving what wisdom has whispered for centuries. And when you choose it daily, when you align your awareness, your language, and your action with that vibration, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. Let me give you a story. A small community in Vermont gathered with one commitment: to practice positivity, to tune themselves together at the frequency of love. They began with small rituals, music, affirmations, shared habits. But soon their environment shifted. Their connections deepened. Their energy spread. Even the way they faced challenges changed. What began with individuals became a field of coherence that uplifted everyone inside it. That is the power of collective creation. That is the proof of alignment. And now it is your turn. This is your moment. Do not let it pass like another piece of content you scroll by. Mark it. Claim it. Comment the words "I choose to vibrate at the frequency of love." That is your declaration. That is your vow. Then share this message. Let it ripple beyond you. Let others feel the vibration you are stepping into. Like this video if it resonates. Subscribe so the frequency keeps reaching you. Watch it again each morning until the rhythm becomes part of you. Because repetition builds resonance, and resonance builds reality. Thank you for choosing to be here. Out of millions of videos, you chose this one. That choice itself proves who you are. You are not just a watcher. You are a creator. You are the one aligning with the frequency that rewrites reality. So I ask you, are you ready to live as the creator you are always meant to be? Then declare it, share it, anchor it, and step forward as the vibration of love itself.